The date is September 8, 1997. Valve has just finished a playable version of one of the most beloved PC games of all time, Half-Life. Seeming very comfortable with the work they have done, they burned the game onto some CDs and distributed them to press outlets, who then got to experience the game earlier than anyone else had ever had. The disc contained the playable portion of the game, then in alpha, as well as some nice documentation about Valve, their technology, their employees, and a short 206-worded synopsis about the full game. It's early 1998. Valve starts to have doubts on the work they have done so far. They restarted the project from square one, taking everything they've learned so far with them. The year is 2013, January. 16 years after the release of the press discs, a Reddit user called Jackal Chaser obtained one of them, releasing its contents and guts online for the world to see. Now, the year is 2017, October, the spooky month, and some weird blue guy from outer space got it working on his system. And surprise, that blue guy is me! Let me take you on a journey through time to experience this odd Half-Life experience, starting with the tech demo. The technical stuff! The game doesn't run out of its own immediately, so I need to do some fixing. I downloaded a program called nGlide. Glide is an API that Half-Life can make use of to render its graphics. Because Glide is quite old, it isn't supported on modern systems. nGlide tries to mimic what Glide does to make Glide-compatible games glide again. No, that's a fucking stupid pun. Still following me? No? Well, it's gonna be a bit harder before it's gonna be fun and games. To be able to run the game in an acceptable resolution, I needed to run the nGlide configurator and set the resolution to 1920 by 1080. This forces any Glide game to take that resolution. However, the aspect ratio became completely fucked. So I had to set it back to its default 4:3. It's still full HD though, which I find amazing, but you're just gonna have to cope with these black bars around it. You know what? Let's put a border around it, why not? Right? I mean, it makes it better. At least, I think. Oh yeah, one last note. You control Freeman by pressing ESDF instead of WASD for some reason. I don't even know why. The tech demo! The first thing you'll come across is the game's tech demo. In this room, you can see all the advancements they made since the Quake engine, which is what the Gold Source engine is based upon. Most of these things are pretty standard today, so we'll blow through this tech demo. But back in the day, these were mind-blowing features. Here, you can see the colored lighting. You can see that the red, blue and green lights make up a white spot in the middle. The colors actually combined properly here. Next to it is the Skeletal animation room. This system was new at the time. It allowed more complicated creatures to be animated in an easier way. Shooting the creature, that never made it into the game by the way, lets it do a few animations. The next room is all about that transparency. Apparently, colored glass was already a thing in this version of the engine. There isn't much more to say about this, other than that the brown, stripy pillar looks quite weird. I have never seen glass with a look similar to it. Next up is the flocking room. Look at all these wingers go. The point here is to show off the flocking system that Valve set up for it. I'm actually quite amazed how smooth they fly after each other. Quite a pretty sight, if it was ever used in Half-Life, which it wasn't. The DSP room is a different one. It's not about the visuals, but about the sound. When you enter each segment of the room, the sound effects change accordingly. Like when you're in a narrow tunnel like a vent or a tub of water, the audio starts to sound muffled, while open and wide areas sound big and echoey. And then we have the scripted sequence room. Here you can see an early Barney and scientist model arguing with each other. Eventually, Barney gets enough of his shit and he feeds him to the Panther Eye. Jeez, Barney is such a cunt. Last but not least, it's the poly count room. or as I would like to call it, the why the hell did this not make it into the final game, this is awesome room. You get greeted by this very cool looking robot dude with a poly count off the chart. I don't know exactly how much polys this guy has, but according to the official documentation, it is at least 6,000 polygons. Maybe more. Probably more. Oh, shooting him makes him dance. He sure takes a bullet to the head nicely. I mean, he's made of metal, so yeah. Further along the tech demo, you enter a lobby area. You got a few ways to go here, but let's start with the door in the middle. This brings you to the so-called silo. Here, you can see an early version of the tentacle monster used in the Blast Pit chapter. Don't be afraid, it can't harm you yet.
Oh, you just wait. For us one day, I would thrive in my prime, devastating and terrorizing your world.
Moving along, you enter a storage room filled with soldiers. You can take them all out if you want. Or not. You could just leave. But who leaves unfinished business, right? Death to all. And that's kinda it for the silo level. Let's go back to the lobby. The door on the left leads you to an office area. Here's your first encounter with head crabs. Yes, these weird things with the thick asses are head crabs. There are a few things you might notice about these early head crabs apart from their hideous appearance. Killing them takes a lot more shots than the two in the final game. Also, they can kill you in one hit. Be careful. If things get a little too harsh, don't be afraid to toggle God mode by pressing Q. Moving on, you discover the sewer level, or something like that. No idea what it's doing here. I think it's just a level to test your shooting skills. But I could be wrong. This should be a breeze, especially with God mode. At the end of the level, you'll either be back in the office or the lobby. It depends which direction you went in. Let's go with the lobby ending. That segues nicely into the next level. The door on the right, which leads you into the model room. Here you can see many of the models used in the game. Some of them look pretty much like the final version. And some, like the Panther Eye over here, is never used in the game at all. You can shoot them to see different kinds of animations. Some of those animations are not used in the final game either. Now there is much more to this alpha version, like an entire piece of campaign, some documents we have to look into, and much more. I'll be splicing the topic up in different parts. The video would be way too long otherwise, so keep an eye on this channel for the next episode, where we venture into the early depths of Black Mesa. Moving along, you enter a storage room filled with soldiers. Oh jeez, where are my manners? I am so incredibly sorry about that. That wasn't supposed to slip out. My pardons. Let's continue.